The trading post at Frontier Station 7 reeked of burnt ozone and desperation. Captain James Rivera pushed through the crowd of merchants and smugglers, his boots sticking to the grime-covered floor. He'd come hunting for engine parts, not trouble, but trouble had a way of finding humans in the outer territories. That's when he saw her. The alien woman knelt in a cramped display cage, her violet skin marked with bioluminescent patterns that pulsed weakly in the dim light. 3 arms were folded against her torso, and her elongated skull bore what looked like a thick metal collar, studded with blinking devices. The merchant, a bloated Quellen with too many eyes, was shouting prices to disinterested passers-by. James felt his jaw tighten. Slavery had been illegal in the Galactic Council for 2 centuries, but out here on the frontier, laws were suggestions at best. He approached the cage. The woman's eyes, large, golden, with horizontal pupils, met his. There was no pleading in them, no desperation, just a kind of patient resignation that made his stomach turn. "How much?" James asked. The Quellen's eye stalks swiveled toward him. "Ah, human. You have taste. This one is prime breeding stock. Very docile. 3 functional arms for labor. Only 40,000 credits. 20,000. 35, and I throw in the restraints. 25, final offer." The Quellen's mouthparts clicked in what might have been amusement. "Done. But human, a word of advice. Don't remove the collar until you've properly secured your purchase. Her kind are known for sudden violence." James transferred the credits and received the cage's access code. The woman didn't move as the energy bars dissolved. She simply stood, towering over him by at least a foot, and waited. "Come on," James said, gesturing toward the exit. "Let's get you out of here." She followed silently, her 3 arms hanging loose at her sides. James led her through the station's maze of corridors to his ship, the Defiant Hope, a beat-up hauler that had seen better decades. Once aboard, he sealed the airlock and turned to face her. "You're safe now," he said. "I'm taking you to a council sanctuary world. They'll help you get home." The woman tilted her head, studying him with those unsettling golden eyes. She didn't speak. James pointed at the collar. "That thing looks uncomfortable. Let me get it off you." He approached slowly, as one might approach a frightened animal. She didn't flinch as his fingers found the locking mechanism. The device was more sophisticated than he'd expected, with biometric readers and what looked like neural interfaces. He worked carefully, conscious of how close his hands were to her throat. With a soft click and a hiss of released pressure, the collar came free. The woman's reaction was immediate and terrifying. All 3 of her arms shot out, grabbing James by the shoulders and chest. Her bioluminescent patterns blazed with sudden, brilliant light. She made a sound, a deep thrumming that vibrated through his bones. James froze, certain he was about to die. But the woman didn't attack. Instead, she dropped to her knees, her arms still gripping him, and pressed her forehead against his chest. The thrumming grew louder, more complex, like a symphony of grief and relief and something else he couldn't identify. "Hey, it's okay," James said, bewildered. "You're free now." "You don't have to." She looked up at him, and he saw tears streaming down her face, glowing faintly in the dim cargo bay. She released him and began gesturing frantically with all 3 arms, pointing at the collar, then at herself, then at him. Her mouth moved, producing sounds that his universal translator couldn't parse. "I don't understand," James said. "I need to get this translator recalibrated for your language. Just give me a minute." He retrieved his toolkit and began adjusting the settings on the ship's translation system. The woman watched intently, her patterns pulsing in what he was beginning to recognize as emotional states. After several minutes of trial and error, Her gestures and sounds began resolving into words. Not a slave. Never a slave. That wasn't the collar. It was my survival suit. James felt the blood drain from his face. What? The woman gestured at her own body, her 3 arms moving in controlled, deliberate patterns. My species, the Venth, we evolved in the deep oceans of our world. High pressure, low light, rich chemical environment. This station, your ship, the very air you breathe, it's poison to me. Toxic. That device regulated my internal pressure, filtered atmospheric contaminants, maintained my body chemistry. Oh no, James whispered. How long do you have? Hours, perhaps. Maybe less. She said it calmly, without accusation. The merchant found me after my ship crashed on a frontier moon. I was unconscious, injured. When I woke, I was in that cage. I tried to explain, but their translator didn't recognize my language. They thought the device was for restraint. James grabbed the collar from where he dropped it, examining it with new eyes. What he'd taken for control mechanisms were actually life support systems. Medical readouts. Environmental processors. I can fix this, he said, his mind already racing through possibilities. I'm a decent engineer. I can reverse the damage, reattach it. The biometric locks sealed when you removed it. It bonded to my specific physiology. Reattaching it now would be like trying to restart a stopped heart with a hammer. Then we'll find another solution. There has to be something on this station, some kind of medical facility. This is a trading post on the galactic frontier, the woman said gently. They don't have equipment for deep ocean species. The nearest hospital capable of treating me is 6 days away at maximum warp. James sank down onto a cargo container, the collar still clutched in his hands. I killed you. I was trying to save you, and I killed you. The woman moved closer, settling onto the floor beside him. Her bioluminescent patterns had shifted to softer, warmer colors. You didn't kill me. You tried to show kindness to someone you believed was suffering. That's not a crime. That's humanity. What's your name? James asked quietly. Lyra, it's the closest your language can approximate. I'm James, and I'm so sorry, Lyra. They sat in silence for a moment. Then Lyra spoke again. Tell me about your species. The merchant called you human. I've heard stories, but I'd like to know the truth. James laughed bitterly. What do you want to know? Why did you buy me? Why do humans always seem to throw themselves into situations where they don't belong, trying to fix things they don't understand? I don't know, James admitted. It's just how we're wired, I guess. We see someone suffering, and we can't walk away, even if we make things worse, even if it costs us everything. That's a dangerous way to exist in the galaxy. Yeah, James agreed. We've been told that, repeatedly, by pretty much every species we've encountered. Lyra's patterns pulsed with what might have been amusement. Yet you persist. We persist. James looked down at the collar again, an idea forming. Lyra, this is going to sound crazy, but what if we could retrofit my ship's environmental systems? Create a pressurized chamber using your device's specifications as a template? It won't be perfect, but it might buy you enough time to reach proper medical care. Lyra considered this. The energy requirements would be enormous. You'd have to divert power from your engines, your weapons, your shields. On the frontier, that's suicide. Then it's suicide, James said. But I'm not watching you die because of my mistake. Help me understand what you need. For the next several hours, James and Lyra worked together. She explained the intricacies of her biology while he tore apart his ship's systems with the desperate creativity that humans were famous for. He cannibalized the medical bay, the backup life support, even parts of his own quarters. Lyra guided him through configurations that violated every engineering principle he'd learned. creating a hybrid system that shouldn't work, but somehow did. As they worked, they talked. Lyra told him about the Vent homeworld, about cities built in oceanic trenches where the pressure could crush starships, about art forms that humans couldn't perceive, and music that existed in spectrums beyond their hearing. James told her about Earth, about humanity's stubborn climb from their single world into the stars, about their tendency to befriend or fight anything they encountered with equal enthusiasm. "Your species is very young," Lyra observed as James welded together the final components. "Most of the galaxy views you as reckless children." "They're probably right," James grunted, sweat dripping into his eyes. "But we're learning. Are you?" Lyra's patterns flickered with something that might have been fondness. "Or are you just getting better at surviving your own recklessness?" "Maybe both." The makeshift chamber finally hummed to life, its walls glowing with bioluminescent panels they'd salvaged from Lyra's collar. James helped her inside, and she sighed with relief as the pressure normalized and the chemical balance shifted to match her needs. "It's working," she said, her voice transmitted through the chamber speakers. "James, you magnificent, foolish human. You actually did it." James sagged against the wall, exhausted. "Don't celebrate yet. We still have a 6-day journey, and this ship is barely holding together. Then we'd better hope your human luck holds out." It did, barely. The Defiant Hope limped into Council space 3 days later, having survived 2 pirate encounters and a reactor overload that should have vaporized them both. The hospital staff on Refuge Prime were amazed that James had kept Lyra alive, calling it either genius or madness or both. As T,